right. How's it going, everybody? Thanks for joining us tonight. This is our first ever discussion series with the Night Owl sessions, and we're hoping to have many more in the future. We wanted to come up with something and create an environment where we can interact and meet more of the people who are watching our videos and checking us out on, Instagram, YouTube, etc. So with that being said, I know you guys probably already know Colleen and Heidi, but I'm going to introduce them anyways. We got Clairvoyantly Colleen out of Chicago, Illinois, and we got Heidi Divine Charts out of, where in California again?
Orange County.
Orange County, of course. I should have known that.
Is Orange County known for their oranges?
They were. They
Jessica,
all orange groves.
Jessica Simpson question.
Yeah. My mom grew up in Pomona, and she said they drove through the orange groves to go to Balboa Island every summer to have their vacation every year. So it used to be nothing but orange groves, and now it's all built up. Little one, yay!
We're being invaded already.
Right.
By aliens, for sure.
So with this session, with this being our first session, I thought it would be a great time to talk about like the things that got us interested in metaphysics or spirituality or the paranormal even. I know I always had an interest in this growing up. Anything sci-fi was always fun, but of course, as a kid, you don't think any of this is real. You think a lot of it's just crazy, fiction, and in many cases, a lot of the stuff really is fiction. But there is a lot of truth to this stuff as well. But one of the things that really first kicked me off and made me realize that there's actually that this is actually a reality was when I started learning about near-death experiences, NDEs, and that was the turning point where I went and said, well, I'll be damned, there's definitely actually something else on the other side. That's what really threw me down a rabbit hole that I'm still falling through. It's just like it never ends, because the near-death experiences to me is like, it's almost like evidence. We have all these different people talking about their experiences when they were dead, clinically dead for a few minutes or however long they go out, and they have these beautiful experiences that all tie together, and that's what really like shined a light on this whole thing for me.
Yeah, very cool. Yeah.
Do you have like a personal one or what?
I never had one. I haven't had any. I've of course, after discovering the NDEs and stuff, I was like working with like astral projection, because having an outer body experience, I would imagine is very similar to when you're kind of traveling in those realms. With an NDE. There was one in particular. I don't have the guy's name off the top of my head, but he had this like horrific car accident with his family, and unfortunately, he lost a couple of his family members, his wife, and one of his children, and he lost his legs too, I believe, in the accident. But he went through like this stage where he was having NDEs on and off for like several weeks, and it was probably one of the most traumatic things someone could ever go through. But at the end of it, after he had all these experiences, he was just like a changed man, and he took something that was otherwise terrible, and he was able to continue living his life. If it wasn't for those NDEs, he probably never would have made it. I feel like it saved his life in many ways.
So, Mark, I have a question about NDEs that I've always wondered. It seems as though, depending on the person's faith, when they have an NDE, they have a experience that correlates to their faith. So a Christian might imagine the white light going to the pearly gates, whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
The Vedas, somebody might experience going into space and having a Brahman experience. Like, why is that the case when it can be so different for everybody? Oh, and then some people feel that they very much go to a dark place.
Yeah.
Yeah. It goes both ways. It absolutely goes both ways. But to like the first thing you're asking about the faith base. So when you're crossing over and having this moment, you're basically encountering it's like intelligence. It's like the creative source, like the universal intelligence. It definitely it knows what your faith is. So if you're more of a Christian, they're going to come to you as Jesus or some kind of figure from
what you're comfortable with, right? Because I mean, unless I think if you're experiencing the darker energies and that darker, scary realm, right? It's because especially if it's a near-death experience, you're going to be coming back. So they probably want to kick your butt into gear. So we want to scare you a little to help you. Maybe it's just your guides projecting what you would consider hell and all those things.
Yeah, the hell ones are really crazy. I mean, if you go on YouTube, there's like hundreds, if not thousands, of NDE experiences. And there's a website. I'll put it in the chat here in a little bit. But this one website has like literally hundreds of accounts of different people's experiences. And the people who go to hell, it's usually for a reason, right? If they're if their current lifetime, if they're making all kinds of mistakes and bad choices, and they're really just like not really fulfilling what they're meant to experience here on Earth. I feel like an NDE is like one of those moments where your spirit guides or your angel team is like basically saying, all right, we got to show this dude hell, like get him back on track. And, and these people, they talk about like being in a place that's very dark and painful, and they're being like tormented by all these energies, and it's terrifying. And when they come back, they like realize like there's always it's not like a punishment when you experience that. I think it's like a last ditch effort to kind of help you.
So what about people who like hospice workers? When someone is about to pass and they're reaching for a loved one who's there for them as they pass, it seems like, well, maybe it doesn't, but do you guys, I don't know much about NDE. So in an NDE, could they run across a family member?
100%.
Not your time.
Yeah. Well, because think about it, your body's shutting down for weeks or whatever, right? In hospice, your mind, you're not worried about your bills anymore. You're worried about what's happening to you. So your mind is going completely somewhere else. You're able to focus in on what's happening to you. And I think the veil is so thin because you're not worried about everyday life. You're worried about what's happening to you in that moment. Because I was thinking about this and I'm like, the veil has to be so thin during that, couple weeks, especially with hospice or sickly people or whatever it is, because you never know. But I think with hospice, because some of them still come out of it, even though they're still getting cared for in that environment, which is really strange. But what I think is like the veil is so thin that you're able to just focus in on who you're really missing and your loved ones, your animals, whoever it is, and they get to come and tell you, hey, there is another realm, side, whatever you want to call it, heaven. And you're close, but I don't think you're ready yet. Because I think hospice, even though, we all know what it's for, some of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there's consistencies. When you look at a near-death experience and then someone in hospice, right? Like you would think that they're two completely different things, right? Because the person in hospice is going to pass and they're going to transition, whereas the person who has the NDE, they're going to have their experience and come back. But there's a lot of similarities because when someone's having that NDE experience, they usually get welcomed by like a white bright light or like a black tunnel, which is consistent. I mean, we don't know exactly what happens when someone really passes, right? When they go to hospice, but there's a lot of similarities, and they're almost always welcomed either by some kind of religious figure that the faith was based off of, or they'll be welcomed by loved ones from that current lifetime. So it's not unusual at all to experience that. The ones that really blew me away. So there's this guy, again, I can't remember his name, but the story is just magnificent. He was blind. He was born blind. The guy had never been able to see his whole life. And he had a near-death experience. And while he was in his experience, he was basically astral projecting in the room that his body was in. And he could see for the first time, like since he was born in that particular body. So he was able, when he finally came back, I'm sure he went off and he had some other experiences like on the other side. But when he came back, he was able to describe in vivid detail what people look like, what the room looked like, where he was, and the doctors were just completely blown away about it because the guy was blind.
There's a bunch of like TV shows and whatever videos, testimonials, and these people say that they are like, if they're getting operated on and something goes wrong, they can see what everybody's doing in that room. So it's very true. It's very cool. And I think it's like depending on the person and who you ask and how it works, but I think everybody's going to have a different experience. But going back to what Heidi was saying with the religion and all that, it's very true. We're all going to see different things. But the most important thing is that there's a different realm, a spiritual realm that we all can connect to. And that's that collective. So I don't know. I think it's really cool. I haven't experienced, but I mean, I don't know. So long story short.
Oh, go ahead.
Okay. I was a kid. I'm not going to say who tried to drown me, but somebody tried to drown me, right? This is true. We were at the beach.
Was it your sister?
That was my brother.
Oh.
My brother, he was so bad. But anyways, I love him. Shout out to Ricky. But he was like roughhousing me, and I thought I was a tomboy, whatever. So he had me in the water, and I just remember literally looking up, and you have your eyes open, and it was clear. It was the beach. It wasn't, it was nice. And I just remember I seen flashbacks of my mom, my grandma, my siblings, and I was like, what's happening to me now? I had to have been in there long enough that he was holding me down, and I could see him, but I could see this playing in my head. So it's always stuck with me as a kid and as an adult. And I'm thinking, was I dying? Was I like drowning and see? Because I'm telling you, it's like a movie. It plays in front of you, like your third eye's open and you start seeing your loved ones
Yeah.
It was scary and I wasn't breathing. But finally, when he decided to let me up, siblings, I was fine, obviously. But I was like, what the hell did I just witness?
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it's just like it's completely different than when someone experiences that. It's so different from this reality. It's unmistakable. It's like that experience it's designed to rock you at your core. So if you saw that, I mean, you probably didn't go far enough, but probably a good thing because sometimes you probably don't come back.
Well, I mean, no.
It reminds me of somebody who is like they have a near miss. And they say, I saw my life flash before my eyes.
Yeah, that's basically what it felt. But
Yeah.
I can only imagine when, you're on the table or, you're in an accident and you see it in more depth and all this. But I felt peace. Like, even though I was scared, like I knew I was drowning, I know what was happening.
Yeah.
I did feel peace. Yeah, they're teasing me.
Yeah,
the chat room is going nuts.
They call me Cow. So if you guys see Cow, that's my nickname. Yeah, my brother, he was always teasing us, but he liked to roughhouse. And I just remember this time, and I remember looking up, and I just kept like seeing my mom, my grandma. My grandma was passed away.
Oh boy. So that's what I'm talking about. When you start seeing like people from your past, I mean, that's what makes it beautiful. It's like when you see, it's like in Harry Potter, whenever Harry Potter had those scenes where he could see his parents like floating in, like that changed everything for him, I'm sure, when he saw that,
Yeah, it's like scary. Obviously, I wouldn't want anybody to have to go through that, but it was actually profound because like, something's happening, but it just didn't click all the way through. Thank God. But I think that's what kind of jolted me to start opening my third eye because my grandmother was there.
Yeah.
Scary. Yeah. It was really cool.
Yeah, they say one of the scientific reasonings to understand NDEs, they say like our pineal gland, it produces that natural occurring chemical DMT, which is also used recreationally as a drug, as an extreme psychedelic. But when our bodies naturally produce it, just like all other living things. And they say like you get a big shot of it when you're born. You get a big shot of the DMT every night when you go to bed. That's what your dreams, basically, how the dreams are created in the subconscious, scientifically at least. And then they say you get a big shot when you die. So one of the things that doctors like to debate on like the actual validity of near-death experiences, it's always like based on the definition of what clinical death means. So like, when does the heart stop? How long was the heart stopped? And most of the time a lot of doctors who don't really subscribe to this stuff, they believe that a near-death experience is just a hallucination in the brain, like a defense mechanism in the brain to help cope. But I think there's enough evidence out there which suggests that this is actually real. And it's, just because we don't understand something doesn't mean it's not actually happening.
Yeah. Well, we all know that because of the work we do.
Yeah.
So like, when did this start for you, Mark, that you noticed that you could speak to the dead?
Well, it's like one of those things where even like today, like I try to, when I think about it, it's like I always try to like wonder if I'm actually doing it or how it actually works. I think that's a question I'm always going to ask myself. But I think one of the things that helped me connect more and work in this field was when I went through some hypnotherapy a couple years back, probably about almost 4 years by now, I think. I started with hypnotherapy, and after the sessions is when I started really feeling the connection, so to speak. Growing up as a kid, I'd seen full apparitions and ghosts and whatnot, and I did a little paranormal investigating, back in my time, and so like I was always interested in it.
Did you try to create a TV show like all those guys where they wear all the dark leather jackets and they're like, we're going into this spooky house, and it's like their grandma's shed or something?
You laugh, but I went to
You
Gettysburg.
did? Oh my God, I knew it.
And I did this like extreme paranormal investigation thing, and I was like really late. Like I was going there to sign up right when it was closing, and there was like these groups of like 20, 30 people are going out when you sign up for one of these extreme ones. And I got lucky because when I went there, the guy's like, "Oh, we're all full tonight. Sorry, you're gonna have to come back tomorrow." And I was all bummed out. And some random guy who worked there goes, "I'll take him out." So instead of going out with like 30 people on a paranormal investigation, I went out with this guy one-on-one, and he recorded the entire experience. He got it on.
Real? He was a real person, or was it
a real person? And I
what
got
were you smoking?
He was probably smoking a lot. I don't know, but we got a DVD out of the gig. I'll have to show it to you sometime. But I went to 2 different sites. But growing up, I always, I've seen things, I've experienced things, but I think it wasn't until like the near-death experience research and then the hypnotherapy is when I truly realized that I could do this too. And it's just a testament that anybody can do it. No one person's more special than anybody else. If you decide that one day you want to like talk to dead people or, do readings or sharpen your psychic senses, anybody can learn this stuff. It's all about, learning how to meditate, embracing your intuition, clearing your mind and your energy and your space. Like there's a lot of different assets to it, but I mean, anybody can do it. I'm certainly no more special than anybody else who's interested in this stuff.
You're extra special.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding with you. But yeah, no, I think you're 100% right. Everybody has a gift. Some of us tap into it fast and some of us it takes more time, especially after like experiences, traumatic, dark, heavy, whatever, or just profound ones. So it just depends on what you've been through and when you're activated, I believe, because I feel like everybody has a gift. And it doesn't have to just be a psychic or a medium. They can be healers. They can be all these different things. So
absolutely.
Yeah, you don't have to talk to dead people. Like my sister, she says she used to watch Ghost Hunters. Oh my God. I hope they never watched it. That was so cheesy. And her and my mom would sit there and watch it. And like, it was so cheesy, but it spooked me because he was calling in some dark, creatures in the basement or whatever. But she loves that stuff. But I always tell my sister this, because I do believe she has a gift as well. She and I get together. We bring these spirits with us. And before we knew what we were doing, or especially I'd be like, there's ghosts haunting you. I feel them with you. And she'd be like, no. You. And you could just feel energies with us. And we didn't know, but it's because she was watching that damn Ghost Hunters.
You guys ever play with Ouija boards growing up?
Okay, so long story short, oh my God, we got in trouble. I'm not going to say what happened, but we got in trouble. My mom bought it because she said, oh, it's just a game, whatever. No. My dad saw it, threw it out, and it ended up back in our house. So I don't know how it ended up back in our house. But my dad was like, don't ever touch that. So I will never.
Yeah, no.
Well,
I know you did, Mark.
I've messed with them, as a kid. I haven't messed with one recently, especially since embarking on this journey. I feel that the Ouija boards can be dangerous because it's marketed as a toy and you got these little kids playing with it and they really have no idea what doors are opening. But what you said is really interesting about the Ouija boards. They say if you ever get one or receive one as a gift, even when you try to get rid of it and throw it away, it always somehow manages to find its way back in your life. So that sounds like it happened to you.
Well, she says that my dad even ripped it. And how did it get back in the house?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't mess with that stuff. I think it's the energy you portray. Like if you want to call in dark energy, you think negatively. Like it's just what you want to bring in. I obviously never would want to bring in that, even when we're watching Ghost Hunters as kids, but I don't know. It just gives me the heebie-jeebies. It's creepy.
Yeah, I think a lot of people get started. I think most children in their early years have these abilities. They're like, you know what I mean? Because that's for me was my experience. Before I can even have a memory of my youth, I was going into my mom's room and telling her about the ghost I had a conversation with that night. And they kind of laughed it off. But then when I was 5, what happened for me was I remember my sister and I shared a room. And I looked up and there was a white figure on my sister's bed and it stood up and looked down at me. And that was the first time I remembered actually seeing a full apparition, and I shut it down. I got so scared. And we lived, and I know this is so cliche. I was born in Costa Mesa, California, or lived in that area, and it's like legit on Native American land.
Wow.
Like there's an adobe across the street from the main street where I grew up on. And so there was an Indian village there, and it wasn't until so I grew up in a super haunted house. Lights would turn off and on by themselves. I would be in bed and something would sit on my bed and you could see the impression. And I mean, just crazy stuff would go down. And it wasn't until my early 20s that I went and saw a psychic, and she kind of explained who it was and why it was happening. And I bought my first tarot deck, and I was super into my Christianity, and I felt I was being sacrilegious. So I got rid of it. And then I didn't go back to it until my minister, of all people, introduced me to astrology and was basically through prayer teaching about clairaudience, clairsentience, everything. Basically, that's what he was teaching. And so it was a different perspective. And then I reopened, and through the astrology, I met you guys, and I got into the tarot, and you guys were so supportive. But I think you talk to little kids, and they see stuff and they sense stuff and they talk about their past lives. And I think they say it shuts off about 6. Isn't that the average age?
Yeah, they're saying like around 6, 7. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it could continue. See, here's the magical part of the whole thing. Yeah, I'd say the vast majority of kids definitely have these experiences. They have no idea that it's weird, right? Or it's not normal because that's what they know. But it's up to us to help the kids kind of develop and keep it going, right? Because eventually they just become desensitized by the world around here, and parents normally aren't supportive. They'll be like, "Oh, that's just an imaginary friend," or that you can't like take that serious. Like my son, my 8-year-old was running around when he was first learning how to talk. He was running around with a picture of my grandparents, and he had never met them before. They were my grandparents from Newfoundland, Canada. And he was like talking about them as if they were here with us. And he was saying, "Oh, they want you to come visit," like in the few words he could use at that age. But he was legit. I felt like he was legit talking to them and communicating.
Yeah, he really was.
And it was like really interesting. And I've seen plenty of videos of people like shitting their pants basically when their kid walks up and talks about like, "Oh yeah, I was a World War II fighter pilot and I got shot down over Japan," or something like that. And like,
how about the kids who are coming up and talking about the Twin Towers? They were in 9/11. Those souls come back. That's freaky. I mean, that's gnarly, the way that they know.
And I forget, that's been almost 20 years now, or around 20 years since that's happened. So yeah, there's probably some 15, 16-year-old kids running around with past memories from that situation. It's crazy. But if more people nurtured like that side of things, instead of like dismissing your children when it happens, we should be like actually engaging with them and asking them like about their experiences, because we could probably learn a lot from them.
Yeah, we can learn so much from them. They are the closest to source at that time. They're innocent. They don't have to worry about everyday life for the most parts. Not all children have that, but we can learn so much from them. Like my children, especially one of them, she is so open and close to source. And just the other day, she literally came up to me and she's like, "Mom, I seen my uncle and he gave me a hug."
Oh.
I said, "Well, were you scared?" And she's like, "No, it's my uncle. What am I scared for?" And I said, "Oh my God. So that was real. That was a visit." And she's like, "Duh." So they know. No, it's just us as parents. Like if I wasn't into what I'm into, I'd be like, "Oh, that's dark. Don't believe that." No, at the end of the day, this is where the world is heading. We're all opening up to our gifts and source, and whatever the source is, it's going to be for the highest of your good. So I just encourage parents to be like, okay, hear their stories. Don't shut them down, even if you believe it's just a story. I mean, she literally came up to me and she knew it was a visitation, and it made her day. It made her so happy. So it's just, it's a cool thing to witness with, Ivy, with your kids. Yeah.
I remember when Eleanor was 6 years old, she called me up and she said, "Mom, you need to go check on Peter." Peter was her little white rabbit. She said, "I just feel like something's wrong with him." And I'm like, "Okay, honey, I'll go check." And sure enough, I walk in there. I don't know how he did this, but he had a piece of hay sticking out of the corner of his eye. And she went somewhere else and could totally pick up on that. So
well, your children have gifts, so we know that. Yeah.
And I don't know if everybody who's watching is familiar with like Dolores Cannon, but she talks about she's like one of the most like famous hypnotherapist that's basically ever done it. And she did the experimental stuff where she was able to communicate with the other side, aliens, call wherever. I mean, she was awesome. She passed a few years back, but she was talking about there's 3 waves of volunteers that are coming into the planet right now. And without going into too much detail, the first 2 waves, the third wave is actually the children that are being born in this generation right now as we speak. And Dolores Cannon basically says that these kids that are coming here, they are advanced and gifted, even more so than any other generation. And these kids are your healers, they're empaths, like they have all these like natural abilities. And in many cases, this is their first time taking an incarnation here on Earth. But she definitely talks about like this time being very important, the age of Aquarius, the awakening, of a lot of things within ourselves, and the whole 5D Earth thing. It's kind of hard to kind of understand all that even after studying this stuff for so long. But this is a time where our humanity is going to be changing for the better, hopefully, when it comes to all this stuff. It's going to be more accepted. It's going to be, more normal for people to, open up about this stuff. Because right now it's all pseudoscience and people get made fun of and teased if they even, talk about this.
But don't you think it's a big part of we're trying to raise the consciousness of as many people as possible, because by doing so, we're going to save the planet. We're going to not be in a low vibration of wanting to go to war like we're experiencing right now, of greed, of elite wealth, having separate wealthy and poor and all that. So I think that's a big part of the wave, is helping us all boost our, consciousness so we can have a more peaceful experience here on the planet. So
yeah. And the scary part is, I think it's gonna, I say this every year too, and it just keeps getting worse. But it's going to get worse before it gets better, kind of thing. I was talking with my brother earlier, and he was like, "Oh, you should talk about the big reset that's supposed to be coming eventually." And essentially, what that means is there's going to be a time where everything just gets like all the structure and the governments and the monarchies in the world. It's going to get basically. It's almost like apocalyptic kind of stuff. Like we're going to be relying upon ourselves to grow our own food and live. I mean, this could be a disaster from a result of war. It could be a natural disaster, like some kind of event is going to occur where it's going to basically take us back to the Stone Age. That's just one of the many theories going around, of course. I mean, I have no idea. Anybody who says they know when this is going to actually happen, like the rapture or the reckoning or this or that and the other, anybody who says that it's going to happen on a date is full of shit, because nobody's going to know when this is going to actually happen.
I do. Don't discredit me. Call me now for your free reading, everybody.
All right, Miss Cleo.
Miss Cleo. No, I don't know, and I don't want to know. But I've always felt something within myself, even with this whole pandemic and everything, and the government, and I have never been one to really open my mouth on that, and I won't even go there with this. But I just know that we have to learn to grow our own food just for our own health sake, because we're getting poisoned. Sorry, we are. And that could just be from the Oreos we're eating to the water. I'm just telling you. One day this video will go viral and I'll be famous for saying that. And call me now, okay? But at the end of the day, I really do think it's important that we just know how to be self-sufficient and health-wise and all of that. We have to know how to mend our wounds, because most doctors don't want to do their part and really help you cure. They just want a mask. So don't come for me, but that's what I believe. So yeah, your brother is right. There is going to be some reset. I hope that I'm not on this planet unless it's all good, because it's going to go batshit crazy.
Yeah.
Well, David Wilcock, like he kind of talks about this too, but he's basing a lot of his theories off of religious texts, not just like Christian or anything like that, but he's going back to like the Hindu texts and like various, like several different religions, and they all reference like this big solar event that's going to occur, right? So the theory would be that the sun is going to give off like a solar flare or some kind of energetic pulse that's going to affect not just the Earth's surface, but like the core of the Earth. So there's going to be heightened disasters, and it's going to like basically cause us a lot of problems. But David Wilcock basically leads up to that when this happens, like it's going to feel like humanity is at the lowest point. But that's when the extraterrestrials are supposed to come and help us, the ones that are like watching over us, you know. And again, I know this is a very taboo topic in itself. It's kind of hard to, well, it's, jumping from religion to like aliens, right? And talking about them in like the same like sentence can be confusing. I'm a firm believer that we're just putting too many labels on things, and what we believe are angels and demons and all this and all these like other spirits are basic same, you know, aliens are from that same.
They're real, man.
Well,
Just say it, Mark. They're real. Aliens are
I believe they're real. I believe they're real. It's just kind
I
of
know
hard.
they're real, Heidi.
It's hard to believe everything you read unless, you know, you want to experience it for yourself, right? I mean, that's a lot of the time. So like reading a lot of this stuff is kind of tough to swallow, or even some of it sounds ridiculous. But I do believe that there's, you know, other beings out there, whether on this planet or locally somewhere else, but there's definitely beings interacting with us in some capacity.
How can there not be, in the vastness of our universe, that there isn't another, you know what I mean? There's several.
You would be naive and small-minded to believe that. And, you know, it's safer to believe that that stuff's not real, right? Like, I don't want to experience that, but we all experience something, whether it's a ghost, spirit, source, aliens, they're real. You know, it doesn't matter. Like, at the end of the day, open your mind. Just open your mind and protect your energy, because where there's good, there might be bad. So,
well, I think that most people are so busy just paying their bills and surviving, but I do think there is a new generation coming in. I mean, I cannot tell you how many kids, I mean, with my daughters, all of their friends want astrology readings, tarot readings. My kids are teaching them tarot and astrology, and this generation is into it, and they're very much into developing their intuitive abilities and are very open to there being people in other planetary systems. I mean, it's plausible.
It's definitely, it's $1 billion industry now. Like spirituality and psychic development and metaphysics. It's a massive industry right now, in all kinds of different ways. But you know, when you got that many people interested in something, it's like exploded in the last like 30 years completely.
Right. Now, Colleen, you had a similar experience like mine, right? How you got into this, isn't it very similar? You had
well, when I was a kid, I would see things, but I would just scare myself, and I would run to my dad, because you know, who's gonna protect you? Your dad or whatever. So I would run to him, and he'd be like, "Ah, it's not real. Don't think like that." And then I would go to my mom, and she's like, "What are you seeing, kid? Because that's real." So I was always conflicted, like with my hippie loving free soul mom, and then my, you know, father, more uptight. I was so confused. But I've seen things where, I was scared, and even now I get scared, to be honest, even though we're not supposed to. But shit, who would? Oh, can I swear?
Yeah, who cares? This is
okay.
Yeah, this is ours.
No, I'm just kidding. But you know, so even as a young kid, I would see stuff, feel stuff, loved ones, whatever. But I never thought past it, because my dad would be like, "No, just, you know, don't," because he didn't want me scared. And I get that now. I you know, you live in fear. But when my mom would say, "Well, look at the stars and all this stuff," and I'd be like, "This lady, what is she on?" Because she was always just so open and, you know, open-minded. And I love that about my mom. So, from a very early age, I knew about death, because of a loved one in our family died very young. And then my grandparents died very young. And that traumatized me, to be very honest. And then as we were getting older, you know, like you said, you just live life and all these things. But when I was a teen, I shit you not, I saw an older male in my house. Now, nobody was there. And he just appeared to me, and I literally freaked out and ran through this, you know, thing. I didn't even know what it was at the time. Or I heard a little boy calling my name, waking me up in the morning. So I started having more and more encounters. And then I got to the aliens. So I know it's real. We'll save that one for another story. That's a little too but yeah, so from a young age, but again, I just pushed it down because I was scared. And I'm not so scared anymore, because I don't want to say like I'm not scared at all, because sometimes the stuff you see can be dark and heavy, even if you put yourself in a higher vibration. Aliens are real. Aliens are real.
The truth is out there.
Mark this day that when I go viral, You guys are gonna believe it when I say it. Aliens are real. But no, yeah. So I've always seen and felt, but I just pushed it away because that's what I was taught at the moment, and just for protection mode. But then I had experiences with my children and medical conditions and all of this, and somebody I love dearly passed away, and I seen that person 3 times standing in front of me, and I knew that this was real, 100%, because this person would never show themselves to me unless they knew that A, I can do something about it or help somebody with it. And B, it's probably like another, like, look at Colleen, don't sell yourself short. This is very real. What you're seeing is real. So yeah, I've seen multiple things. It's been a crazy last 2 years almost, or it's been 2 years, and yeah, we're in April that I've opened up, and I am a psychic medium. So if you want, a reading, call me now. I'm just gonna keep saying it all night. But yeah, so similar experiences.
Well, the timing of it. This is one incredible thing that came from COVID is a lot of people had their awakening. A lot of people everybody was forced to slow down enough to actually feel and to be reached, right? Which you've got to go quiet and you have to be receptive.
You have to go quiet. That's what people, they're like, well, I'm doing what you're doing. And I'm like, yeah, but are you taking the time to actually connect within yourself, to sit there? Oh, thank you, Christina.
Oh, sweet,
I
Christina.
appreciate that. You have to sit and actually be able to meditate and focus. And if you don't want to meditate, do the breath work and read. And people are like, oh, you don't need a class. You don't need this. I recommend that you do that because you have validation and you practice and you have all these things, whether you're a healer, Reiki, medium, astrologist, whatever. Practice makes perfect. And you have to take the time. If you don't take the time for yourself in learning this, you're just going to, open up and leave it.
The best thing, in my opinion, the best reason to take a class. I mean, yeah, the information that you're getting and the guidance is fantastic, but going to these classes, whether it be online or in person, you're meeting other like-minded individuals, and you can make friendships and network and find people to practice with or start groups. I mean, that's how basically the Night Owl started. Was we met each other through practice groups and classes, and then boom, next thing you know it, we're working together and doing readings, and then we realized holy shit, this is actually happening, So definitely I encourage people, if they're interested in this, take a class and make as many friends as possible.
Yeah, and it's like any muscle, the more you exercise this, the better you will get. And let me tell you, when you start a meditation practice and you take the time to find out who your spirit guides are, you take the time to open your third eye, and I mean, you will go deeper and deeper, and it almost becomes like, I can't wait to get into meditation and see where I go and what I see. It's absolutely incredible. And we all, like Mark says, everyone can do this. And I actually think that we're all supposed to be doing it so we can improve things. I actually 100%. Think that we get so caught. We're basically born into a system where we're expected to do certain things, jump through certain hoops, and we're denied this ability that we all have that can enhance not only our lives, but the lives everywhere in our planet. And it's just,
absolutely.
I think people are waking up to that, and it's so critical. We don't need to be these sheep who are, basically
get it, Heidi. I hear you. That's my girl. That's my girl.
We're basically conditioned to be slaves to societal norms, and we need to wake up and look inward and do a better job. And I think that's happening.
You always have to think, like, if you are relying on a higher source, let's say the government, right? Because that's the source here.
Right.
The government and the people with the money and the politicians. If you're only relying on them to come and wipe your ass, then you're going to be stinking all day because they only care about themselves. Get up, learn to wipe your own ass, feed yourself, heal yourself, focus on the inwards, inward, not the inwards, and just focus on what you have to do in order to protect yourself. Because in reality, the source is teaching you, and I mean your inner spirituality is teaching you to be connected to yourself and how to really live among other people in a beautiful way, not in a selfish way, right?
Right. Yeah, because I do believe strongly that when we're connected to source, we're more tolerant. There are some people who truly believe that the war breaking out in Ukraine is a collective energy of negativity that is expressed itself through this war that's broken out. So when I'm pissed off at that person for cutting me off in traffic, or I'm judging that person for, I don't know, being shallow or being a jerk, it's actually like I'm releasing more negativity instead of that pause, connect to spirit, be more tolerant, be more loving. So that's what we're radiating instead of just continual like competition and aggression and whatnot. So
yeah,
it's
100%.
really quite interesting. So yeah. Anyway, Mark, this all started with your topic on.
Well, that's what usually happens. We'll start talking about something and things bounce around and kind of evolve as we're going. But I feel like all of the stuff that we're discussing, you can learn so much from studying the near-death experiences. And Edgar Cayce also, there's a lot of information that Edgar Cayce, who was a famous psychic back in the early 1900s, he discovered a lot of this stuff with NDEs and meditation and trance work. So I think there's just a lot of information out there you can find that can, help guide you to where you want to go.
Yeah, 100%. Sheeple isn't cool anymore. You are so correct. It's not cool to be, you got to be the leader of your own family. That's all it is. And you have to take precautions. That's all. So you're right, April. And patience is very key when you're opening up to your gift. And you don't have to compare yourself to everybody else either, because no matter what, you're always going to think somebody's better than you no matter what. And if they're not, you're just at different levels at different times. So, open up and do you.
So Mark, did you have a topic for us tonight? Have you dropped the hammer yet on what you want to talk about?
No, I wanted to basically get into like what got us going in this direction. The NDEs were one of them that really affected me in a positive way. So any kind of anything that you guys discovered on your path.
Ghost stories, Mark.
Well, I got a friend for the ghost story stuff. She's a paranormal investigator. One of my friends, Michelle, she worked with the Warrens on the Warren Legacy Foundation and whatnot. So she actually trained under the Warrens, and she's been doing this a long time. So she's definitely going to be one of our future guests on here, and we're going to probably do an entire show dedicated to the paranormal.
Well, one other thing I wanted to share is one of the main reasons I got into astrology was because I was hell-bent on finding my purpose in life. And I felt like one of the best tools that I just found was using astrology to help to, figure out who am I? If this is a blueprint from the universe of who I am, like a blueprint from God is what I would call it. Somebody could call it something else.
Yeah.
Why am I here? What is my purpose? What am I supposed to be doing? Because I don't know. I just had this drive to find my purpose. And then I had a drive to help other people answer key questions, to know themselves better, to know their family better, because when you do astrology and somebody crosses your path and I don't know, like there's a miscommunication or they agitate you in some way, you don't really get mad at the person. You're immediately thinking, what is in their chart that brings that out and doesn't sync with mine very well? And then you're more tolerant of that person because they're that way for a reason, right? So for me, purpose was a big part of it. And I think that what we do help with that. I mean, especially with Colleen with the clairvoyance, and Mark, even you with the psychic mediumship and psychic work, people are coming to you guys in pain and needing help and needing answers and needing guidance and connecting with loved ones. So, I mean, I think we're helping people. I think it's huge.
That's like, and we're helping them to look inwards to heal too. It's not just, hey, your grandma's sitting in the corner watching you. It's not just that basic. It goes deeper. And I think if you're willing to do the work, you can heal through these traumas, the deaths, and these experiences. And I think that's when I offer my readings. Like, I'm just like, yeah, I could connect to whomever, we can go there, but there's always a deeper meaning to this, and they want you to heal. So
yeah, that's my goal when I'm sitting down and reading with somebody. Like, I'm trying to help them process what's going on in their life, and I treat it like it's like a conversation. We're just hanging out and we're having a discussion, and as things will come to me, I'll ask certain questions that help guide where the conversation needs to go. When I do my readings, I'm not the type of person who will typically focus on bringing in like grandma or grandpa. It does happen. Certainly, I will get messages or information or things shown to me, through loved ones. But a lot of the times when I'm doing my readings, I like to focus on like the higher realms, like the angelic realm or spirit guides. I like to think that I'm being guided by them. They're showing me different aspects of this person's life that I'm reading. And at the very end of the day, when I do a reading with somebody, and I'm sure the same is with you two, you're trying to like empower them as well. Like you want to give them the information that they need and help them kind of process through these things, but you also want to like leave them in a place where they're better equipped to kind of help themselves too.
Right. Right. Right, because it's trying when someone comes to you and says, "Please tell me what to do," and you're kind of like, no, let's talk this through, because you have free will. You need to be the one to decide, but let's talk this through so you can make a more well-informed decision. But ultimately, you need to make it. So that's always interesting when that occurs.
And that's like the dilemma, right? So when you're reading somebody and let's say they're having like a ton of legal issues or a ton of medical problems, and like you don't want to be that person to give them that direction. And then if they listen and then it doesn't happen the way you said it would, like you got to be careful. So there's like a lot of ethics in doing readings for people, not just for the sitter or the person receiving the reading, but for the reader as well. Like you gotta make sure you're approaching this with sensibility and common sense. Like clearly, if someone's having medical issues, I'm gonna preface whatever I say with make sure you're going to a doctor. Make sure you're getting professional medical advice, because I'm not a doctor and I can only talk about what I'm feeling and experiencing. And sometimes we're right when it comes to that stuff. I mean, I try not to go down that road myself, but it's very possible you can be accurate and correct when doing that. But you should always be respectful of the person's
and I
life.
think it's selfish for the sitter, the person getting the reading, to even put that responsibility on a medium or a psychic. Yeah, you're going to a psychic for that information or whatever, but you should always, again, take it upon yourself to not focus on me wiping your butt. I said the government, so I'll use me wiping your ass. You have to own up to you having to wipe your own ass. So if you think this is going on and we just brought it up out of the blue, like I'm telling you that I see this happening to you, and you go, shit, I've been feeling this. Well, then go to the doctor. Don't put it on Colleen or Mark or Heidi or whomever and say, well, they said no. Go to the doctor, figure it out. It's your responsibility.
Well, I heard one astrologer say it beautifully. He said, I don't tell people what to do. I will not tell people what to do because I don't want to be a part of their karmic path.
Exactly.
That's the best way of putting it, because there's a karma path. There's definitely karmatic ties that leave you connected. You're absolutely right. Or he's absolutely right.
Yeah, that scared me straight. I was like, I get it. Oh my gosh, I will never tell somebody what to do again.
Take it with a grain of salt. Be open to hearing it. Write it down. I always say write it down and think about it. You're saying this and that, and just do what you like. Be proactive for yourself. Don't put it on us. Don't put it on your family. Put it on you and go figure it out.
Well, not only that, if we are helping our clients, we're helping them to connect to source, and we are giving them tools to get clarity. Yes. We're not fishing for them. We're teaching them how to fish, type of thing. Right. I think that's a big part of it. We just don't give a reading. We're also giving tools, and we're really trying to help people on, because it's tough down here. It's boot camp, basically. Yeah. And so we're really trying to help people learn how to navigate their lives connected to source.
Also, can I say this? I don't know if it's trending now because of social media, but all these psychic mediums are having people steal their pages and blah, 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 blah.
Oh,
if you're approached by somebody and they say, hey, for $59.99, I will read you, instead of you approaching them, then it's a scam. I just want to say that because for some reason I think it's going to happen to one of us. Just know that nobody's going to be approaching unless it's on their main page, unless they're promoting their own, page.
Yeah.
I'm
And I'm
hearing
not the type, and I don't think you guys either. We're not the types that are going to solicit. Like, we're not going to walk up and be looking for, like, we're going to share our experiences. I know we do a lot of, like, readings where we do share moments online on our channels and our social media and stuff, and we would like to continue doing that. But I like to think the best way of growing is word of mouth and just our reputation as it stands. I don't think we need to go around soliciting that. So yeah, you're right, Colleen. I mean, if anybody ever gets approached by one of us like that, then it's probably not us.
Yeah.
I am actually interested in that on a more spiritual level, because if people are having awakenings to their ability, and we actually have more astrologers, psychic mediums, tarot card readers available to people, and they're getting hacked, and it's really trying to be shown as a sham, or a negative light on it. To me, that is a good versus evil type of thing, where
100%.
we have something that is trying to destroy these souls that are awakening for a reason. People are waking up for a reason to help other people. And then these types of things are happening because they're trying to knock it off course and give it a negative name. I was talking to an astrologer friend of mine today, and she was really upset because somebody unsubscribed from her newsletter because she used to be a musician and now she's an astrologer. And they were like, why would you do this phony business shammy thing? I really respected you before. And she basically wrote them back and said, if you're talking about pop astrology and the, astrology that I think I'm in agreement with you. I don't do that kind of astrology. I'm talking about Ptolemy and Kepler, and I'm certified, and this is
like true work and doing. It's not a gimmick. And I always say this, like, people, when I first was opening up, like, I've always told random little stories of what I've experienced, and people would laugh. I'm like, whatever, I'm laughing with you because it feels so weird, when you experience this. But I think once you put in enough hours and do enough research and education in this field, you don't want to be laughed at, right? I don't want to be called the real Mrs. Cleo and all that stuff, because I know at the end of the day, I'm not a liar. I'm not gaining nothing here. I'm helping you. How do I know so-and-so standing right here? I don't know. It's just coming to me. So I often like get annoyed that people be like, oh, you're a scam. You're this, it's fake. And it's like, I'm not asking you to come to me either. Like, I'm not seeking you. But when you're ready, because you will eventually come around, we all do. When you're ready, I'll be here to help you on a very deep level. And so I think I could appreciate that, because if you don't have people who are skeptic, it's not so fun, because you want somebody to challenge you a little.
And I don't know where you guys stand on this, but I don't actually view it as my job to change their mind. What I do instead is I tend to just ignore, and then I just say a prayer that the universe will send them a message, send them the person they will listen to, send them an experience that will open their heart and mind to the truth. And all you can do, I can only handle it on an energetic, spiritual level, because if I just start in with them, it's not going to solve anything. They're actually looking for a fight. You know what I mean? And I'm just not interested. That's not how I want it. I only have so much energy in the day, and I'm not going to put it to that.
I don't have to convince you that I'm who I am anymore. I don't want to, nor will I. And at the end of the day, if you don't believe me, change the channel. I really don't care.
Yeah, but another thing, I think it's hard for many people to realize, and even as I say this, I forget it all the time. When you have a spiritual awakening, or you go through this like situation where your eyes are opening and you're kind of like getting in touch with all these energies, you're not going to save everybody, or you're not like, you have this mentality where you want to share it with everybody because you want to spread the truth, and it's just exciting. And I remember going through that, and I would tell anybody who had ears, I was really excited about it all. But eventually you got to come to terms with, not everybody's meant to go through this stuff. Not everybody's meant to go down this path. So you just want to work with the ones who are willing to, and hope that the greatest good for everybody involved is what happens.
But what's so incredible, and with your guys' help, I know for me and my studies, because basically the three of us have committed to studying this and getting the best we can do and being with spirit for the rest of our lives. There will not be a day, and you know what I mean, that we're going to not try to improve our connection and what we do to help people. But what I've learned is that if I see something like that, all I have to do is look up and say, Spirit, could you please send them the soul who they're going to listen to? Because I just don't have time. And I know that frequency, and just we're so interconnected that I release it to the universe and it's handled. And I think it takes a while for people to get to that level of trust and realization that everything, according to what Tesla says, is based on energy and frequency and vibration. All you have to do is say it out to the universe and watch how long it takes for whatever you're saying to come to you. It works that way. It's that simple.
It does. It really does. That's why you have to watch your words and not say, I am something negative. Yes. And that's a hard conditioning to break, because we're all conditioned to be like that. Like, even when you're just playing, like, oh, I'm so stupid. And they're like, okay, the universe is like, well, today you wanted to be it today. And then, so you have to watch your words, and you really have to transmute your energy and your tones and all that. That takes a lot of practice, because it's hard.
Kabbalah,
I want to say something really quick. A bird just flew into my house. Like, I have a big window, and it just hit the side.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Bird.
That's some time right there. That's a time.
In Kabbalah, it's called evil speech. And so, say somebody is wanting the next great love of their life to come in. Every time you engage in evil speech and you release that negativity, you're pushing the day that great love is coming to you further and further.
Oh, wow.
So it's like, it is true, Colleen. And even I believe it was Maya Angelou who says that, my God, your words are living things. Be careful what you say.
Yeah, they're
like,
frequency.
Yeah, like, don't, like your example, don't say I want to kill two birds with one stone. Why would you, don't say that type of thing. Why would you want to do that?
It's just because it's a casual way of talking. Like, I'm so mad at blah, blah, blah. Oh, I hope they get that. Like, it's just a cat. Like, you have to watch your words. I've learned that, but it's very hard.
I know, I do too.
I like to swear and fly off the handle and get my point across like this, instead of just taking a step back and being like, why am I upset? Let me figure this out before I speak those words, because everything can hear you. And I so totally believe that.
Well, it's like Wayne Dyer. Wayne Dyer is like one of those, if you're going on this path, he's a name that if you haven't heard of, you should certainly look into. But his big thing was, he has a saying that I am that I am. So it goes into that mentality when, if you're going to say like, oh, I suck at driving. Well, you're right. You're going to suck at driving. But if you say, like, let's say you go to school and you want to be a lawyer. Well, every day you say that you're going to be a lawyer. I am a lawyer. And even though you might not be a lawyer yet, but if you're saying that every day, you're going to manifest that for yourself in your life.
100%. Sorry, guys, I gotta fix this light.
It's okay, Christina. Thank you. Christina wrote this beautiful message validating. Thank you, Christina. That means a lot. And we haven't really acknowledged everybody, but thank you, everyone who is here. We really appreciate it.
Yes, you guys are fire. Thank you, kid. Love it. Thank you, Christina and AP. Yeah, I don't know. I just think it's really cool. And I think even though our friends here who are here, they're very open-minded, and that's why they showed up today, right? They want to learn. And I think the best way to learn is through, obviously, social media. It's quick. People get it very quickly, but also through other people's experiences. I really believe if we all talk like we're all psychic medium, and Heidi does this, I do that, we all talk about it, and you build confidence with one another and experience, and you just feel like you can be open. And I think the more open-minded you are and comfortable, the more your mind is just going to expand, especially in this realm and in this whole, I don't know, spirituality. Because it's easy to like go on with reality and not focus on that. I've learned that too, right? Yeah. It's a discipline. I truly believe it's a discipline doing this.
Oh yeah, it's. You think that was like my biggest problem when I first started getting into this. I wanted everything. I wanted to know everything, and I wanted to do it all now. I had zero patience. I was like a roller coaster getting with a rocket booster, getting ready to fly off the tracks and go into outer space. Like that was the speed that I was like trying to make everything go. And I definitely learned quite a bit from it. But I also learned that if you push yourself too hard and you spread yourself too thin, you're not going to achieve the same results that you really want. So like anybody who's going to go into this stuff, have patience and just trust that the universe has got you exactly where you're meant to be in your progression of things. So
go ahead, Mark. Sorry.
I just realized that I needed to take it easy and just trust that whenever that time is that time in my life for whatever it needs to happen. So it's like it's like not having expectations, just kind of going with the flow and learning as much as you can. But like once you start setting high expectations for yourself, you're just going to let yourself down, especially when you don't achieve it as fast.
And I think the number one tool to do every day consistently is meditation. Would you guys agree with that? That connection with force is so critical.
Yeah, and some people hate it. They're like, I don't want to meditate. That's fine. Meditation is not everybody has to sit quiet. Some can meditate. I don't know how to explain this. Lisa Williams taught this to us, like, in a sense. This is just in my own words, though. She's like, I don't have to sit and stay calm and focused. Like, I could be sewing, I could be doing dishes, and I'm still connecting to source. That's my form of meditation. So just because Heidi sits in meditation and she's really in the zone there doesn't mean you aren't either. You're just doing it a different way. You don't have to sit in a quiet room. You could be in a room full of people and zone out. It just depends on how your body's going to let it. But the most important thing, I believe, is breath work. Like, you have to connect to your being and sit and clear, especially clear those energies. And when I say that, just literally, guys, imagine you clearing out whatever it is you feel in your body.
Okay, Colleen, give us a breath, your favorite breath work technique.
Okay. You know what that's from? Hocus Pocus, when the witches are taking the souls. Have you ever seen
Colleen, Colleen, you couldn't be more right, because right now, and I like to tell, I think I've told you guys this probably 100 times by now, but the whole thing with breath work, people don't realize that this is literally the time of humanity where breath work is going to be coming into the focus for worship. Because when you look back on the age of Pisces, which was ruled by Jesus Christ, it was all about like worshiping the blood of Christ, water, like the Pisces is a water sign. It was all these things pointing that was how people, they prayed and they drank the wine or whatever. Now we're in the age of Aquarius with Saint Germain, and it's the air sign, and the way people are going to be connecting with God and their religion, so to speak, is going to be through breath work, like shamanism. Like, it's going to be very shamanistic and organic and natural.
Well,
yeah,
and
Jesus
also,
rocks.
Well, and also, so in the Gospels, Jesus tells his disciples to go prepare a room, and they will see a man with a jug of water. That is the water bearer. Men didn't carry jugs of water in Jesus's time. It was odd that he would even be doing that. That is the signification of the Aquarian time of being of service. And it was a man with a jug of water. That's one person's theory that I actually find quite beautiful. I really like that. And so it's that shift from Pisces and Jesus to being of service to one another. And you're right, Mark, and the breath work. So do we have a breath work that we like? I know one that I do that my favorite.
Do it, Heidi. Do it.
So before, I hope I'm doing this right, but this is what I do. So my favorite astrology teacher taught me this: to get the two sides of the hemispheres going before you meditate, you plug one nostril and you breathe in, and then you exhale the opposite. And you do that 10 times and then you switch it.
Yeah, it activates both, right?
Yeah, activates the fibers between the two hemispheres. I'm blanking on the name. I've seen it do different ways. Some people just block one and breathe in and out, and then block the other and breathe in. I like the alternating,
because you're switching on and off. Yeah,
that's one breath work, and it gets more advanced. I know there are different names. I have a good friend who does the box routine, which is, I think, what the military uses a lot, right? The box breathing. You breathe in for 4, you exhale for 4.
Oh yeah. It's like it's cyclic. It's very cyclic. You want to be breathing out, and those techniques, though, I notice it's tied to just about everything that we do when it comes to metaphysics. Like, when you're meditating, it started off with breath work. When you're getting ready to do a reading with somebody, not just the reader but the sitter, both are encouraged to do breath work. Being an empath, doing Reiki, all of these things, like
labor, women, labor.
Yeah. When you get the birthday you gotta reduce anxiety, breath work. Like
Yeah.
breath work is so powerful. And there's also people out there, I don't know this from experience, but there's people out there who get high as hell doing breath work.
Yeah.
Like they sit there and they just like do like 100 or 200 breaths really quick, and they release all these like dopamines and who knows what else in their head, and they have these like extremely psychedelic experiences just from intense breathing. Yeah, breath work.
Do you guys ever exhale the negativity within you? You breathe in
Yep.
and then you release the exhale, the negativity.
Clear your energy. That's the smartest thing you can do. And if you're doing it with your breath work, it takes you to source quicker. I believe that it does because or your guides or whomever it is you're trying to contact, the aliens, I don't give a crap. Whoever it is you're trying to contact, because what you're doing is you're breathing in the light, right? The higher elevated vibrations, frequency, and then you're breathing out that heaviness you're feeling in your body that's trapped. And even when you move your body and stuff like that, it's really good for you. Music is really good for you, you know, within reason, because some music is a little heavy, dark. But I think, you know, I think like with us and our breathing and all of that, anybody can do this. Like even tonight, I challenge these people that are here to just sit and do some breath work. It takes 2 seconds. You'll feel so much better. I do that in the car when I'm driving and people are annoying me or I just want to connect. Have you guys ever noticed when you're in the car that spirit comes to you?
All the time. The car is one of my happy places, especially when I'm by myself. And if I'm not using the phone, I'll put on some music and I'll just completely and utterly, like, I'm not even driving anymore. It's like my head and my brain are somewhere else and I'm on autopilot. I feel like a Tesla with autopilot on sometimes because like I'll be driving for a couple miles and then all of a sudden it'll dawn on me, like, I don't remember like being on the wheel. It's crazy, but I know I'm perfectly safe, you know?
Well, is it that now you guys have small children? I'm going to push back a little bit. I don't have that with the car. I actually have a lot of anxiety around my car. But is it more the car or more alone time because you guys have small children?
Oh yeah, when I'm in the car with them and forget about it. They want to blast music and stuff, and then they want to blast movies. We have like one of those screens.
So
yeah,
is it the alone time? Is it the alone?
It's probably more so alone time, and then the experience of driving, and you kind of do zone out when you know where you're going, and it's like you're on autopilot because I live on back roads now, so every time I get back there and it's like beautiful weather with the windows down and some good music, I shit you not, I have a spirit sitting in my seat.
Oh, Colleen, you know what happens for me is when I drive, when one of my kids will get in the car and say, "Can I give somebody a ride home?" That kid will get in, and then one of their relatives shows up. That's what's happening.
Oh man!
And I'm like, "Here we go."
Put one of those cameras in your car. You know how all these cool kids have it now, where they have the cameras in the car and they talk to it. You should do that where you're reading these kids or these teens.
Always, if I just have one of their friends in the back, a relative shows up that wants to communicate with them, and that's been what's been happening for me. So, but yeah, it's been wild.
That's cool, though.
I'm all, are you open to?
Yeah, and they're like, can you please drop me off here?
Yeah,
there was a show.
Medium. April tagged it. Carpool medium.
My brother found this. I can't remember the name of it. If he's still in there, put it in the chat, Mike. But it was there was a mediumship show. I think it was like web based. I'm not sure if it was actually on a television station, but nonetheless, the guy was like an Uber driver or a taxi cab driver, and you could tell it was somewhat scripted. Like at least the people who were coming in the car were already arranged. Like this point, it wasn't random strangers coming in like completely cold. There was some kind of setup here, but nonetheless, it was a pretty compelling show. Yeah, you forgot it, Mike? Yeah, it was. I saw some of it. It was interesting because that's a good idea because like Uber and taxi cab and random people coming in. It's like
it would have to be scripted because if not, let's say Heidi's picking up random hitchhikers and she's doing like no matter what, it's safety of the road. So it depends. It depends on how well you connect, how you could sit with the spirit. It depends on the person too, what kind of message they want. Because somebody wants full details and somebody just wants to know grandpa's there, So that's a cool idea. Carpool medium. Get it, Heidi?
Yeah.
I'll let somebody else explain.
I'll do it, and I'm gonna have Mark show for me because I have to like focus. So we'll just script that part.
I'll tell you something. I am shocked by what these teenagers go through. I have had more like interventions with kids who are being abused, who are experimenting with drugs, and I feel very fortunate that these kids trust me, but it's like no joke. I mean, I'm so grateful that I get to be present because they need you during these years because it's not easy. And so when I get them one-on-one and a spirit has a message for a child whose mom is being abusive and what to, it gets pretty intense, So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Anyway, but my heart goes to these kids. It really, really do. So anyway.
Carpool medium. Heidi, I need to see that. I am excited for you.
You do the mediumship. I love the astrology and the tarot, and yeah.
I love it. Like I'll get in the car and I'm not expecting it, and I'm driving and I'm, the first one, somebody pops into your head. So I'll think of my cousin.
I got the name. It's called Seatbelt Psychic.
Our name's better.
Snappy.
Admittingly, I haven't watched many of them. I just watched like maybe one, I don't know, two. So I appreciated the format of it, but free plug for Seatbelt with our 10 viewers. Go check out Seatbelt.
Guys, carpool medium. Have you ever seen people in the carpool with their with the blow up doll or with the mannequin?
Let me tell you guys. I have a funny story. So hopefully it's very simple. But my niece works for a very popular restaurant. I shall not name, just in case.
Okay.
And oh God, she said the other day, a man walks in and he sits down and he has a blow up doll,
a sex doll, or a blow up doll.
I don't know what's the difference.
Is there a difference? Yeah.
Well, it was the plastic one, like you could literally blow up at the restaurant, and everybody's. I wish I had the picture. Kayla, if you're on, she's probably at work right now. Please send me that picture. It was so hilarious, and of course, you don't know if he's mentally ill or what. But how freaking weird.
Oh man.
Serving you food.
I don't know. If I saw that, I'd probably have to leave the restaurant. I'd be laughing so hard.
She said they were just giggling.
I wasn't used.
I hope it was a dare. I really hope it was a call.
When I tapped in, see, yeah, it was so weird. I wonder if we April find the picture.
Well, wait, was the guy like college age? It could have been like a frat prank or something. I hope.
I have no clue, but
maybe it was. It could have been Annabelle's dirty sister.
Shit. Oh God, I don't know. It was just so weird, and she was like, "Auntie, look at what I have to deal with." I'm like, "Only in Chicago, huh?" I wish.
It's all that deep dish pizza going to the brain.
Stop hating on our pizza.
I would say
said that last time.
COVID and the deep dish.
Deep dish is so good with everything in it. This is sausage, pepperoni, bell peppers, onions, mushrooms.
Yeah, but then you're
getting it with one thing. It's.
Yeah, but then Colleen, that night you're going to be visited by the cow and the pig you ate and the.
Oh man, that would be something.
Oh my God, you already know.
You want to go to sleep and you're like,
Hey, once you clean up your diet and you start going healthier, you see some shit. But thank God I went back to my old ways and I do iced coffees and chips all day. So I'm not hearing that as much when I eat. I know it's bad to say, but I'm like, I'm kind of happy I'm not hearing the cows and the pigs. It was freaky for a while. But that again is you going to a higher level. You're going up to a higher vibration when you can see and hear that stuff.
Yeah. And when they say when you go to bed at night, like you're not supposed to snack, right? Later at night, because it's not only does it make you all fat and harder to digest, but also it does lower your vibration, especially if you're eating like bullshit with processed foods or like fat meat and all that stuff. So I'm not very good at it, at least not yet, but I try not to gorge myself too much at night. But there's been nights where if I go to bed and I didn't eat much, just drank some water, and I'm feeling good and I go to bed, I could definitely feel the difference. There's been times where I did a reading for somebody. It was pretty late too. It was like midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning. I probably shouldn't have been reading them, but they reached out, and I was just trying to help them out. And then I remember going to bed, and that person's mother like popped up in my face.
Dang.
And I think it was because of that like happy hour, like
Yeah.
right when you're going to bed, the magic hour, so to speak. You're kind of your brain's kind of staying awake, your body's falling asleep.
Sleepwalk to the fridge, Mark?
Oh yeah, I've done that before. Yeah. Oh, those
They're
are
like
Mike.
Step Brothers, where they're walking around
God.
making all those weird noises in the fridge area.
Oh
Melissa,
man, I woken up in the middle of the night eating cookies and like cheese sticks and all kinds of stuff. I just go
I
to
think
town.
that's just your excuse to get away with eating all that, Mark, that you're sleepwalking it.
It's like I'm on a mission sometimes. I just remember waking up like 3 o'clock in the morning and I beeline it right down to the kitchen. Like, okay, what am I gonna eat? And it's like outside of my control completely.
It's like Heather's gonna put a lock on the fridge.
Sleep eating cereal. Damn, that's a good one. You're a good slurper.
Yeah, my son had his friends sleeping over, and I was sleepwalking. I literally woke up in the living room with a bowl of cereal, and they're both staring at me like I had 6 heads. And I'm like, oh, geez, I did it again.
The milk, yeah, like that's 2 different type of foods, like liquid and solid. Damn, Mark. Yeah, if I eat before I go to bed, I get nightmares. Like I had a really bad nightmare the other day because I decided to eat some chips before bed, but I was just craving them. Sometimes you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah. And also, don't forget, when anybody out there is listening or watches this video in the future, definitely like get into a habit of like shutting yourself off when you're going to bed, because everybody deserves a break. If you just want to do psychic stuff all day, every day, you're probably going to hinder your progress because you're not giving yourself ample time to break. Just like when you work out muscles, you have to give your muscles a couple days in between workouts just for them to heal and recuperate. The same goes for the psychic stuff. If you're always on, then you're probably not going to make as much progress as you would like.
The best thing you could do is open and close down, because if you don't, you're going to be like me. My whole life seeing people, especially at night. I would see them in my rooms. And every house I lived in, they would come, and like strangers. This wasn't just, my loved ones. These were strangers, and like they could actually touch you. Did you know that? They could touch you. People say they can't. They can.
Yeah, they can touch you.
Spirit?
Spirits, they can touch you. People say they can't. Like, oh, the dead can't hurt you. No, they're hurting you. They can hurt you. They can, like, you opened my eye. The man opened my eye.
They can literally, like, they phase into you. Like, they can connect with you on a much deeper level than you realize. That's why when I always like to say this to people, like, when you think of like a demon or a monster, it's not like the type of demon or monster that's hiding in your closet or under your bed with a butcher knife and is going to hack you to pieces. It's more or less like these entities, these dark energies, they'll basically latch onto you, and they can really do plenty of damage just latching and sucking all your good energy out and giving you bad energy in return. And then that's how people get like left wide open for, they have like drug addictions or any other kind of like self-destructive behaviors, is because chances are they probably got like a low vibrational energy latched onto them, and it's fucking their life up.
Yeah, well, like what Colleen was saying, if spirit's touching you, just remember you're in control in this realm. You can make guidelines like, no, we don't. You can reach out to me, but I don't like to be touched.
You have to say it, because I didn't know that.
Yeah, you have to tell them.
Yeah.
So Colleen, what do you do to open up and close down?
I have many tricks under my skin. No, I'm just kidding. All I do literally is do my breath work, and I cleanse my energy. So I imagine all my chakras. I don't even know the names to all of them, to be honest. I'm so forgetful, but I just imagine all my energy, meridians, and I just clean them out. I ask Source to step in. I bring in all my guides, whoever you want your guides to be. It doesn't matter. Whatever you want to do. And then my grandmother appears, and she opens the door for me. So you could have a door. You can meet in a specific spot. You can be in a rainbow. You can imagine anything you want. But my grandma comes. She comes young and old. And I guess it just depends on my mood too. But she likes to come in younger. So when she comes in, 1 minute it's a red door, 1 minute it's a green door. So when I feel it's green, I know I'm going to be helping somebody heal on a really deep level. But once my grandma opens the door, spirit steps in, and then I see shadows at first. And then if they want to manifest themselves to me, they will. And that's like on a really deep connection. and then we just go into it. But breath work, surrounding yourself in white light, bringing in other sources, grounding yourself. And then after I've done my reading, I've done everything, I close down. I imagine the door. I tell my grandmother to close it. She closes it. I close it again. And I go and I like wash my hands. I don't know why or what, but I have to like cleanse that energy from me.
Kabbalah encourages that. Like Kabbalah encourages when you wake up, you need to wash your hands immediately because they believe that you've been astral projecting. And when you come back, you need to cleanse yourself. So that's probably what it is. You've probably been working with other dimensions. You've been working with other things and you want to cleanse yourself of that.
100%. Because I just like even after we get off here, I just feel like my hands are clean. But I just feel like all this energy and heaviness, and I'm like, oh, I have to wash my hands. I have to cleanse. Like, and I'll drink a lot of water. So if I'm in a meeting that's over an hour, which is usually me because I like to talk, you guys know that. I get like so hungry, and I'm like a savage. I'm in the kitchen like going for anything. But I get really hungry. I get very thirsty. It's kind of like you have like the munchies or something. It's really weird for me. I don't know.
Yeah, I get thirsty as all hell. I drink water like nonstop when I'm in sessions.
I crave like mochi or frozen yogurt after a reading, or even after we meet and we exchange energy. I want something sweet and, something like that.
Like a little reward or something, some type of spark of energy. Yeah. So that's what I like to do. Very simply. I mean, it can go more depth for me, but I just see who I need to bring in, ask for protection, always do that. Open, close, wash your hands really good, erase. Like you always tell spirit that you're bringing in to go back to their loved ones, because sometimes they like to linger. One time I did a reading and the old man, my lights are flicking on and off.
I have spirit here too. Yeah, cool.
The old man, I have a glass door in my office, and I remember waking up like at 3 a.m, and the old man was standing still in the glass door. Like, what are you doing, man? You got to get out. So I looked because I have a catwalk so you could look down, and I went, ooh, shit, you got to go. And I went back in the room. You got to get out of here.
Yeah, I feel really lucky because when I go into meditation, I know where I have like an introduction thing that I go to, but I also, I'll get to the point where I'm with my main guide and we're going to go see the other guides, but I'm shown a door in the universe. And I've learned that depending on the outline of the door, I know what temple they're taking me to. And
You're going up there, Heidi. That's cool.
That's a pretty high level stuff.
Yeah. So far I've been shown 5. I have a new one. I was shocked to see that they're a new one, but this is what I mean. Like you work on your meditation and it will just keep expanding and expanding. And I get excited when I get into the inner sanctum of the temple and I can feel that there's a new presence there, not my usual spirit guides. And just incredible. Like I'll share the story with you guys. I'm going public on this one. It was in my chart that I was supposed to meet like my next great love. And I was like, oh man, here we go. I don't know if I want to do it, whatever. It was like my past life great love. He showed up in my meditation.
Oh boy.
It was like Althea told me you had a lifetime of super crazy happy lifetime as a Native American, and you had this amazing husband, you had this amazing life. It was your happiest lifetime by far, and it was him. And so I asked him, are we going to meet in this lifetime? And he was like, no, I'm not coming back in this lifetime. So and so but now he's there. So when I go into meditation, this great love, because I really didn't believe in soulmates. But when I met him in this meditation, I was like, I get it. You know what I mean? So it's fascinating, like in the astrology.
Wait, Eddie, can I ask you something personal and weird? But you know me, I have to keep that energy going.
Yeah, I don't care.
Do you get to make out with him?
Yeah.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
Get it, girl?
I was in front of Jesus and my higher dimensional being, and sometimes my pastor who passed, and my Native American grandmother who grounds me, and Archangel Raphael. Do you know what I mean? But we kiss, and it's like, you know what I mean?
It's an energy exchange. That's so cool.
Do you ever stop kissing your guide and look over at Jesus and say, "You're next, big guy"?
No! Get it, girl.
No, at first I was like, I'm sorry.
Yeah, but I mean, at that high level, you know, that's really cool. It's very different, very cool.
Well, I like set ground rules. We kiss at the beginning of the temple, but not when I'm not
Around them.
in the
Jesus, you're a Native American. I love triangle.
Woo!
Oh yeah.
Well, it's funny because when you look at what I'm like, the type of guy I'm attracted to, it makes sense for me. It totally makes sense. I was like, yep, I get it.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that you never know. Meditation can be quite exciting. So.
Oh yeah, meditation is definitely super powerful.
Right after this.
And for those people that see this and they tell themselves that they suck at meditating, like first of all, that's going back to like the Wayne Dyer stuff. You are what you say you are. So if you say you suck at meditation, then you're probably going to suck at meditation. But let's just say meditation doesn't fit your lifestyle. Let's say like me, I have a bunch of kids running around everywhere. It's hard for me to find a good chunk of time to dedicate to meditation. So you can go out to nature. You can go hiking in the woods. That's really a powerful form of meditation in itself. We talked earlier about being in cars and kind of going into that like trance state or zoning out. That's very much meditation. I like to believe too that like, you shouldn't have to just rely on being in peace for the meditation. If you can meditate within chaos, then that just really attests to how strong your meditation skills really are. If you can meditate in any scenario.
It's hard. It's the hardest, but you'll find yourself like my husband who'd be like, man, these kids. And I'm like, I'm already zoned out. Like I wasn't listening to them. Not that they're hurting themselves or not, but it's a bunch of energy. And I'm just like, whatever. And I focus in I could read, I could write, I could do multiple things at once. I'm really good at that. So I think being a mom or a parent, your body, your mind just kind of go hand in hand with that. Somebody down here, Melissa says pineapple does go on pizza, and I just want to say you're disgusting. I mean, I've tried it before. It's not bad, but no. I just want to say that.
One of these days, Colleen, you have to come out to the East Coast, and I live just outside of the pizza capital of the world, New Haven, Connecticut. So if you ever make it to the East Coast, I'll show you some real good pizza.
I'm gonna send you a deep dish pizza, okay? And it's not Illuminati's. Everybody thinks it's Illuminati's. I don't know. I'm not technically old school Chicago, but Southside Chicago to me is like everything in it, really fresh, so good. I'm gonna send you guys one. No meat in yours, right, Heidi?
Pineapple. What?
You want? Oh, you're from California. Get out of here. Get out of here.
No meat on mine. No meat on mine. I have some friends who feel that they're meditating when they go for a run.
Yeah.
A good friend who does spin and she gets on that bike and man, she gets the best downloads when she's on that bike. So that's another way.
Also, like if you want to download or you want some healing, need some healing, ask your guides. Because if you don't ask, they're not really going to step in. You need to ask.
Right.
Yep.
Clarity for guidance. One teacher that I had, she told me, she's like, Colleen, ask to go to the healing temples. They'll take you. And I kid you not, the next day I'm having these vivid dreams of a temple and seeing blue people and all these different
very cool,
beautiful, high vibrational beings. So it's very possible we all can do this. Meditation is key, or your breath work, but it goes hand in hand. It's the same thing to me.
You want to hear a cheat code? Not really a cheat code, but something you can do that's almost effortless.
What's that?
Get a glass of water and put it next to your bed when you go to sleep. And it's not meant for drinking. I mean, put a glass out there or like a thing if you want to drink water, but put this one not for drinking next to your bed, and you call upon Archangel Metatron to come and cleanse your body. And Archangel Metatron will assist in removing all the negative, stagnant energy from you, and it will go in that glass of water. And the whole reason why you have the glass of water is in the morning when you wake up, you take it and you go outside and you pour it into the earth. So it can be recycled again.
I like that. I like that a lot.
Water is living. It hears you. It feels you. It's healing, especially good, clean water. So, for you city folks, I wouldn't drink that water. But
I think there's a researcher from Japan or a Japanese researcher who did the vibrations of water. So I'm not comfortable yet going to the Akashic records. Do you guys do that?
That's my goal. That's where I'm going to next. That's
the
goal.
That's a pretty heavy duty thing to accomplish consciously and willingly, but I will say this. I'm a believer that when we're tapping into the energies that we're doing during these readings and whatnot, I feel like we each are connecting with the Akashic Records in our own way. There's some kind of interaction there of information, whether it be through the angels facilitating the process or your guides, but I feel like the Akashic Records is like where all of this information is stored. So how we access it, you might not be doing it consciously and aware. Like some people envision, it's the Akashic Records come to you in whatever you want to imagine it as. It could be a computer at a desk. It could be a whole big library. It could be much more modern looking. Like, it doesn't matter however it comes to you, but when you're connecting, I feel like that's where we're getting a lot of our information. That's where the source is.
Okay. So I did a course, and I know that I'm going to access them and help people, but it's not right now. And I was all
okay.
So I was like, wait, I want to get there. You know me. Once I go, I want to go. But she did a meditation, and we all got to access it. So you can do it by meditation. I wouldn't just go in there, start messing around, but like you literally open your own. Well, for me and how we did it, we opened our own book, and I was in like a beautiful big library. It was huge. And then you go in and you find your book. So I think mine was blue at the time, and it had my name across it, and there was like a word on it too. And then you just open it, and whatever you need to know is right there. So when you sit in meditation, you can ask to access the records. I'm sure there's way more ways, but that's what I did. So that's how I know I eventually will be working with that, but it's just not right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? Everything has its divine timing. So right now, you weren't meant to work with it, or maybe not at the level in which you will in the future, but it will happen eventually. I think we all, get there in due time. What's the rush? It's all about the journey, right? Not the destination.
I like to rush everything because I want to know it fast. Like if I can learn it and then give it to you, and then you give it to them and you give it to them, like that's what I'm about. I like to.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I'm in a rush every single time. It's like I gotta mindfully tell myself to slow down.
Yeah. But don't you think there's more than we can learn in a lifetime?
Oh, absolutely. You know what I mean? Yeah, there's so much more. So much more. We can possibly we're barely scratching the surface as it is,
Yeah, imagine if we started from infancy, all of this. Like our parents, weren't closed-minded. Not that they all are, but parents are not closed-minded, and you're not stuck in a way, and you're not a sheep, and all these different terms and labels. And we got to open this since we were little. Imagine where we would be in our 20s, because I'm only 20.
We'd be pretty far.
That's my point. We'd be very far advanced, and then imagine, in your 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, whatever. But I think it's cool, and I was told I had to slow down, and that's what I'm doing. So I take it for what it's worth, and I love to learn from everybody. So I'm always bouncing and learning, and in groups and in chats and all this. So it's been fun opening up to this. It really is. Hey, my hippie mom's here. So
nice.
She's the one that my grandpa used to tell us ghost stories when we were little. And I shit you not, I'd be on the front porch, like on the summertime, like, oh, I'm so scared. And he'd be like, oh, you're a chicken. And I'd go in the house and see things. And then they'd be like, you'll be fine. But as an adult, I'm like, shit, I wonder if those and stuff are real.
Your mom's there now? She should come and say hi.
She says, she's like, I'm going to try that with the water.
Darlene's on.
Yeah.
Calling.
No, she's online. She's online.
Oh, she's on the chat. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, she's online. Dar, getting back to what you were saying about if we started as infants, my minister gave his last sermon in October of 2021, and he passed on January 21st of 2022, right? So that's not a very big window between his last sermon and when he passed. And his last sermon was all about how we are just at the beginning of our journey, that our souls are eternal, that our souls will last beyond the planet, beyond everything. And so I can't help but think that all the work that we're doing now and we're just going to carry it on to the next lifetime, and we'll continue whatever we didn't learn, whatever happened. It'll just be
You just pick up where you left off.
this beautiful continuation. And yeah, so that's what makes me think of is but it's pretty heavy to think that our souls are eternal. Why are the three of us here now? How did we meet? Did we have some kind of experience in the past? Will we see each other again in the future? We were probably witches who were burned at the stake.
And just so people know, we, under normal circumstances, we have no business knowing each other. I mean, Colleen's in Chicago, Illinois. Heidi's in Orange County, California, and I'm in New Haven, Connecticut. Like, we're literally in completely different parts of the state. And Nicole, who couldn't be here tonight, she's in New York. So it's like we're from all around the nation. I mean, and back when the Night Owls were even bigger, I mean, there was like 14 of us at one point from like quite literally every part of the country. So yeah, we are all, our trajectories were meant to collide when it happened for a reason. So I think that goes true for everybody else. You're going to meet people who are going to change the way you view life and what you want, and they're going to help you in your journey, just like Heidi and Colleen have helped me on my journey.
I think, like, even right now, for an example, if we were to go into the chat and start reading, a lot of these people in this chat would have similar loved ones pop in, or their deaths, or their something similar will pop in, because I think Spirit likes to show us lessons, or their spirit coming in and teaching you something in a big loop. So like
a golden thread.
Yeah, there's all a common core right here with these people, and that's why they're here. Small or big numbers, it doesn't matter, because the next batch of people to watch this, it'll be the same thing. They all are going to get pulled in for a message. Like, if you were to read in a group, and even though I'm talking to her, 20 other people could have the same similar story. And that's how you learn from one another. People are like, well, I didn't get read. But no, if you were listening and you said Grandpa died the same way and had all these problems, Grandpa's giving you the message too. So you always can take away from somebody else's story. So I think even right now, these people in this chat are here for a reason, and they're seeing, or the people, the next, group of people, they're seeing this for a reason. They're all going to have some common meaning and spirit coming through for each and every one of them. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Yeah. No, it does. There's times where you might not even realize it, but you have a lot in common with the person next to you, whether in person or digitally or whatnot. And people are going to get similar messages in many cases.
And they're
guys, Mark promised us he was going to sing his famous song.
Wait, what?
He wrote a song for the Night Owls.
Is it a Steve Miller song?
Well, Mark, you were singing in the beginning. You said you were going to sing, remember?
From Phoenix, Arizona, all the way to Tacoma, Philadelphia, Atlanta, LA. Keep on rocking, baby.
Yeah, I got my That was my second concert I ever went to.
I would love to see him live. I haven't seen Steve Miller live. I would go in a heartbeat.
Oh, it was a good concert. It was fun.
You know who I would go to if they were still alive? Freddie
Mercury from Queen?
Yeah.
Yeah, Queen still tours. They tour with Adam Lambert. Yep, Adam Lambert. He's like a American Idol, I think, or something like that.
He has a nice voice.
He's a pretty good replacement.
That's his song.
Yeah. I like them all. I love Queen. I mean, it's one of those bands where, even the kids of today can relate. Like, the music is, you hear it at all the sporting events. It's like they're incredibly talented, and I don't think we'll ever have another lead singer like Freddie, that's for sure.
I really like them. Oh, my sister says you all need a theme song. Do it, Mark.
All right. Yeah, you know what? I got some friends who are, very much into this realm of things as well, that are also very talented musicians. So I might have to connect with them. But
you have to sing. You have to be the singer.
Oh, man. I don't know. I might drive people away.
Heidi could do the chorus.
Well, to figure it out. Well, guys, it's getting pretty. It's about almost an hour and 40 minutes, and this definitely went longer than I was expecting. But we're having a great time. But before we go, I just wanted to say that we plan to do many more of these in the future. We're still, of course, going to continue to do readings. So please stay tuned. Check out the website. We'll definitely put some updates on social media as to when we release more dates. We should be doing that here in the next couple days. But also, if there's any topics or anything you want to see us talk about here, or if you guys want to get involved, please leave it in the chat section or leave a comment on this video. And we just want to come up with something that allows us to kind of, hang out, talk about some of these great topics, and get to know some of you more as well. So if anything comes up, just let us know. You can always send email too, and or if you see any videos or anything, any kind of media that you want us to watch or anything like that, send it our way. We can certainly try to fit it into the format.
If you want Mark to sing again, put 1111 in the comments.
That's right.
I love karaoke. Karaoke is like one of the most liberating things ever. Like, you get a good karaoke place going.
I think it's fun. I mean, it's all in fun.
I like to take 80s and 90s pop songs and turn them into heavy metal.
There you go, Mark. You got 1111. You better come up with a fresh song when you come.
Oh, there you go. Oh, yeah.
Mark, the other day, I'm like, kiddos, it's time for me to introduce you to Whitesnake. Here we go.
Whitesnake, that's another one. Those guys kick ass.
Oh, Mark, you're getting people. They're saying they want to hear your voice.
No.
Mark was classically trained in singing. He's just putting on the front, guys. He has a voice of an angel, literally.
Oh, yeah. It's like a mix between Fergie and Jesus.
Yeah.
He has an honorary diploma for air guitar.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I'll play some air guitar all day. maybe next time. We'll see.
Look, you got people popping on saying 1111. You got to.
It's 11:11. I'm looking at my clock. It's 9:41.
No, I told him to say. You know what people say? Go in the chat and put a 11111 if you want.
Oh, if you want.
So I said it. I said go in the chat and put 1111 if you want Mark to sing on our next live.
All right, on the next live, I'll sing something for you guys in the next live. I got you.
It might be cringy, but it's funny. So
yeah, we'll see. Hopefully, I can make it less cringy and more awesome.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
All right. With that being said, everybody, thank you very much for joining us. We'll probably try to come back next week with another session, but I appreciate every one of you who have been, sharing this journey with us. And if anybody needs anything, just let us know.
I love teasing Mark. Like, just he makes me laugh, so I love teasing him, guys.
Don't worry, payback's a bitch.
Don't put me on the spot because I'll be like this, like I did when I was teasing or saying weird things. But Christina, I did get the book. Thank you. Christina has a book, guys.
Nice.
So I'll let you all know. I read her the other day. It was beautiful.
Awesome.
Okay.
All right, everybody. Thank you.
All right. Adios. Thank you. See you all very soon.
Bye.
Bye, y'all.